All right, we're live uh, on the YouTube channel. Just want to welcome my brother, attorney here in Oakland as well. One of the best workers' comp attorneys in the state of California. He's got the largest Black workers' comp attorney law firm in the state of California. And we want to introduce Fletcher Brown to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thankful for the opportunity to give my perspective.
And so why we're here is that I was in Dorian from Group 82's live stream tonight. He was talking about college, and I was making comments, and Dorian was referring to my comments. And Fletcher's texting me like, hey, you're in Dorian's chat. And so I was like, you know what? Instead of hopping on the phone with you afterwards, let's just hop on the stream and let's discuss this. So what were your thoughts on the show? And how did you know that I was on there?
Oh, you know what? I was on YouTube and I was just kind of going through my scroll, and then because I follow him, it popped up live. So I just said, oh, you know what, let me click in here. And I clicked in there, and then I saw you making comments in the comment section. Borderline trolling, but I think that's authentically you, your perspective. And so then that's when I just started to text you to the side.
Well, let me give some more background. So earlier in the day, Dorian released a video that had a Mark Cuban quote about colleges and college graduates, and then Dorian had his commentary. And then tonight he had a live. And so my point is to Dorian was that I agree that colleges are overpriced, but I think a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds need college, and it creates a situation where when they graduate, they're going to have a baseline fundamentals, all things being equal. And what they do with that degree is a personal choice. And I think that they're better off. The average 18-year-old is better off going to college than trying to figure things out all by themselves. What were your thoughts, Fletch?
I think, and I agree with Dorian from the standpoint of it's not, I don't think that every kid needs to be going to college. I think that people, I think that it's the safe route. You know what I mean? And I think that that's kind of the consensus on college in general is it's the safe route. I think what Dorian was basically saying is, hey, you don't need it. After you go to college, you're probably going to make X amount of money. The internet is here. The internet's here at scale. You can bypass college, and if you apply yourself to different things online, you can make that money now, and you don't need to go to college. And I saw you in the comments, and you were basically saying that you didn't think that was true.
Right. I mean, I didn't, I read a lot of conversations between my clients and their landlords or property management. And on both ends of the conversation, oftentimes you see people who can't read and write at the core of it. And I'm not talking literal, but I'm talking about read and write at a high level so that their communication is clear and they can clearly express themselves, and that they're understanding what's being written back to them. And in my opinion, college improves that, and people that do obtain that 4-year degree typically have that baseline. Is it necessary? No. Can you figure it out on your own? For sure. You can figure it out on your own and you can do your own reading and you can be self taught. But the reality is, for most people, myself included, people benefit from a higher level of structure and a larger institution holding them accountable.
And you're saying benefit even post college?
Yeah, because I mean, like for instance, like Dorian, who I like his content, Dorian often says like, I like looked this up, I reverse engineered it, I researched it, I listened to doing all this. That's basically studying. That's a skill that he either learned in high school, um, and probably perfected in college. Now he may not consciously be aware of that, um, but not everyone has that skill. I mean, there's people in his chat asking him, "How do you start a podcast?" Like, why would you ask someone that question when you can just Google it and do your own research? You can just YouTube that, and you're gonna get a bunch of videos of people explaining how to start a podcast, and you're going to be able to consume a lot more thorough answer than Dorian would be able to provide in a Facebook Live where you're one question of probably hundreds he's getting in the live.
Okay, well then what about the kids that don't excel in college? You're saying those kids should still go to college?
Well, I mean, if here's the thing, if you go and you don't excel, that's different than not going at all.
Okay.
No,
But if you're not okay, but if you're not excelling or if you're struggling in high school, you're probably still going to struggle in college.
no, because I think college you can structure the things you want to study. I mean, you have a lot more broader curriculum that you can essentially take in. You're not limited to the subjects that your high school picks for you or whatever your high school picks. Like for instance, when I was in high school, I wasn't a great student, but I knew that I got my best grades in business classes. And then when I went to San Jose State, I majored in business, and a lot of the classes I excelled in high school, I did really well in at San Jose State because I enjoyed them. Like for instance, I hated biology. If I had to take biology in college, it would have been a struggle. I didn't enjoy that, right? So I only had to take one science class to basically get my 4-year degree. So I think maybe one or two. I remember one, but you understand the point. Where in high school I had to take 3 or 4 just to graduate from high school.
Here's my point. I think college definitely has its benefits. I think everything comes back down to the person, and I know that that's kind of like an answer, no answer. But I think it always comes back down to the person and really just talent. And I've always kind of said this, and I think Dorian was kind of going towards that too, where it's like you're either talented enough to do this because you don't need to know how to read and write to be successful in terms of e-commerce and the internet. Does it help? Yeah, it helps, but there's a lot more that kind of goes into this. And go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
So my main point is I think it comes back down to self-awareness and talent. And I think that there's going to be some people who you put the camera on them, people just want to watch them. You take, they can post photos, pictures. People want to look at those photos and those pictures, and people are going to be willing to pay them for that. But the reality is that our society isn't set up where when you start growing up, people are telling you, hey, you know what, be self-aware, really explore yourself, really figure out, what makes you different and celebrate those differences. We don't really have that kind of society. Because we don't, you have a lot of 16, 17, 18-year-olds like, what do I do? And the common, consensus is go to college. And, I think that's going to work for some people, but is that going to work for the masses? No. I mean, the numbers are in. You go to college, you get a job. For the most part, you're going to make average to below average money. I mean, these jobs, coming out of school, you're going to make average to below average money. So my point is, that's what it is. So if you can make more money than that without going to college, the numbers are in. I mean, yeah, like if you could be, and I don't know if DJ academics went to college or not, but if you can be a DJ academics, go and be a DJ academics. But only time is gonna tell you.
Right, but see, I guess that's the problem with the advice is that what you and Dorian are saying applies to basically the exceptions. You're like, go ahead and be LeBron, go ahead and be Kobe, go be Luka. It's like, dog, like, I mean, or even go be Isaiah. Oh, you're only 5'9", you could be Isaiah Thomas or Nate Robertson. I was like, wait, there's only a handful of those. So DJ Academics has talent. Those people have talent, but I'm talking on the bell curve in the middle people. And so the reality is that most life is a competition, and most 18 and 19-year-olds can't compete with most adults. Now there may be the exceptions, but most 18 and 19-year-olds still need some more seasoning and more training and just more life experience.
Let me say this. Let me just drop this first piece of game in here at 12:05 into the live stream. And you kind of touched on it because you started talking about playing in the middle. Life, money, success, everything that people want in life is on the edges. And the edges meaning on or at the extremes. If you want to be the best lawyer, you want to be the best student, you're going to have to just do extreme things to get those types of results. And I think Dorian, to a certain degree, I think he makes it sound easy, but he's definitely on the extreme in terms of the type of work and the type of investment he's put into his brand. And I don't think that people truly understand what it means to be at the extremes. People think that you can go to college and do average in college and get extraordinary results, and the reality is that you can, period. So you're either going to have to choose a hard major and go down that road. You're going to have to do really well in college and go down that road. When you get into business, same thing. It's like you can't, if I'm going to build a firm, I can't do what everybody else is doing. I can't do what everyone in the middle is doing, because if you are in the middle, you are going to get killed, especially now with the internet. And the problem with Dorian's advice was he was just like, hey, you don't have to go to college, just come over here and start a business. And the reality is yes, start a business, but you got to be out here and you got to be ready to compete. And to compete means you cannot be in the middle, because if you're in the middle, you will get killed. Period.
All right, but let's just bring it back to the college thing. I just don't think that one of the things that Dorian said was like, I could teach someone to make $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month and doing online marketing, whatever. But everyone can't do online marketing. You know what I mean? And so, what up, TP? Everyone can't do online marketing. And so if they can't do online marketing, then it's like they might as well be better off being in school.
Well, I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I think, I mean, there's more to online. There's more to making money off the internet than just online marketing. I think he was just throwing that out there as an example.
Right.
So I think that was just kind of an example. Now, I think he is right though. If you put 4 years of work into something online, there's and you're actually working. At the end of those 4 years, you're going to see some results. Good things are going to start to happen. Period.
Right.
And you don't need 4 years.
All right.
Let me say this because I don't want to go deep into this, but I've actually revamped my brand, my firm's brand.
No. Let's just talk about school. Let's just talk about school. So I just wanted to say that generally speaking, because like for instance, I remember having this conversation with you and TP, and you were like, well, it was like whether or not going to Harvard and paying $60,000 a year was worth it, or going to Harvard Law School and paying $60,000 a year was worth it, or going to Santa Clara paying $60,000 or Northwestern, whatever the situation may be. And you guys were pro debt and pro school. What's the difference here? What's changed?
Because here's the thing. Again, it gets back down to what's a commodity and what's not. Are you playing in the middle, or are you playing on the edges? Are you playing in the middle, or are you playing on the edges? If you're playing on the edges, top school, Harvard, et cetera, that don't matter. It doesn't matter. Now, if you can't leverage, some of this, if you can't really get out here and hustle it and leverage it, then that's kind of on you. But again, it's are you playing in the middle, or are you playing on the edges? And too many people are playing in the middle. And if you think that, I went to Cal State Long Beach for college. If I thought that a political science degree from Cal State Long Beach was going to, automatically give me some kind of magical job career where I'm making all this money, nah, man, it's a commoditized degree, and I loved my experience there. But the only thing that I have from Cal State Long Beach that's great really comes back down to my fraternity, relationships, things that you can't necessarily just go out and just buy. And it's things that are unique to me. Again, it gets back down to the edges. Everything that's in the middle, no one really cares about. And that's the point to you is that's what it is.
Yeah, but Fletcher, I remember obviously you at 18, 19, and at the time you wanted to start, let me tell the viewers. So one of Fletcher's friends' uncles ran like this electronic distributor company where he basically was like the middleman between people that needed computer hardware and the manufacturers. And like Fletcher went over there. We'd both kind of hang out at his business, and you thought you can do the same thing. Now, do you think that if you had dropped out of Long Beach State and took up that business, you would be in a better position than where you are now?
Was I talking about dropping out to go and do that though?
Hold on a second. You thought about doing it, but the only way you would have been able to do it is to do it full time, because you wouldn't have been able to do a business like that part time.
I personally think, and this, I don't want this to kind of sound arrogant, but I think any business I can kind of get into, for the most part, I'm going to make work. That's just me. And I'm going to be able to kind of get out here and hustle, get into the trenches, figure out what the nuances are. All right, boom, boom, boom. Now, I may have gotten into a business, and maybe 3 or 4 years later, I'm in a completely different business because I'm able to adjust. But again, this is why it gets back down to talent.
Right, but right. But Fletcher, but you can't give advice, general advice, without knowing whether the person you're talking to is talented. So the advice that I would give someone that is talented is not going to be the same advice I'm going to give to the masses because it's not going to apply.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you're right. I mean, and that's why you've got to be careful with general advice. I mean, you're right.
But that's what we're talking about. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Well, what I'm trying to say though is I'm saying if you take a general approach to life, you're going to get general results. And what I'm trying to say is you have to, the general advice is you have to kind of figure out where the nuances are and you got to get out the middle.
Right. But Fletcher, but the middle. So you're talking about the extremes, but you're not talking about the other end of the extreme. The middle is people win in the middle all the time. So to act like people aren't winning in the middle is a misnomer.
Okay, who's winning in the middle?
I think you're winning in the middle. You like you weren't on the extreme of anything academically.
I graduated honors at Cal State Long Beach.
Dog, what was your LSAT score? That's what I'm talking. You don't got to share your LSAT score, but my point is like you weren't in the extreme category of the LSAT score.
But tell the whole story.
Hold on a sec. We can tell the whole story if we want, but my point is that like you weren't on the extreme bell curve when your competition increased when you were at Northwestern for law school. Were you in the top 10%?
No.
So that's all I'm saying though, Fletcher, is that being in the middle
mm-hmm.
got you through.
No, babe, that's not true. When I was at Cal State Long Beach, I graduated with honors. I was a part of a fraternity, so I was deep in that game, right?
But what was your LSAT score?
My LSAT score was in the middle, but B.
No, it wasn't in the middle, man.
Okay, well, it was at the bottom, whatever you want to call it, the bottom. But B, my GPA was in the top. So whenever you apply,
but Fletcher, but my point is that the objective test, the test that everybody has to take, that's not dependent on the talent around you.
Mm-hmm.
You were in the middle, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to act like you need to be on the extreme end to kind of get by is, I think, inaccurate.
No, but B, tell the whole story though, B. I got into numerous top schools in the country. You don't get into the best schools in the world being in the middle by definition, right?
All right.
Even when I was at Northwestern, when I was at Northwestern, yeah, I might have had the worst grades in my class, maybe. But like when you're playing on North Carolina's basketball team, you're still on North Carolina's basketball team.
Okay, I disagree.
When you make it to the NBA, you don't need to be LeBron. You're still in the NBA.
Okay.
So you still have that brand that you're so you're not in the middle. Now, let me say this too. This is 24 minutes in. Let me give this to this little nugget of game. A lot of people don't know how to sell themselves not being in the middle.
No, we're talking about Fletcher. I'm going to take it back to college because we're not talking about you. Bring it home to the topic, please.
No, but the point right now is I'm making the point about being a commodity and being in the middle, and I'm saying you got to play on the edges. And you're saying no, Fletcher, you were in the middle, and I'm like, nah, man, I was on the edges. And so sometimes it's a perspective game because you're coming like, no, man, you're average, and I'm like, I was at the top 10 school in the country. What are you like? What are you talking about? As long as I get the damn degree, I still have a degree from a top 10 school in the country. And honestly, I don't even really push that. A lot of people don't even know until they know. So my point is, again, I've been on the edges. I'm always selling success.
No, but again, that doesn't
You know that.
take it back to but that doesn't take it back to college. But the college situation, you can't like someone going to Cal State Long Beach is not on the edge. You're going to you're not you're in the middle. You're with there's nothing. You wouldn't be considered quote unquote the talented 10th if you believe that. It's like,
but what did you? But the question is, the question is this: what did you do when you were at Cal State Long Beach? Me personally,
but iron sharpens iron. Like, it's like someone that like plays at a mid-major or a low D1 that leads their team in scoring. It's like, yeah, you're getting 20 points a game, but you're playing in the WAC. Like, let's see if you can get that 20 points a game in the Pac-12. And so, like, but my point though simply is that most people that are going to college aren't going to Ivy League schools or the elite public universities in their state. They're just going to an ordinary college. And what your advice to them would be to, like, even though everything about them says that they're ordinary, your advice to them would be to take steps that the super talented and the extraordinary do. So, like, I think that's terrible advice, and that's why I disagreed with it originally with Dorian.
But okay, so do you consider me super talented for graduating with honors from Cal State Long Beach?
No.
Why?
There was, and I'm going to say this with like, I'm going to say this with all due respect. There are people like up the freeway that at least through the objective measure had better test scores than you. Like, you didn't even have a better SAT than me. So okay. Like, so
all right, let me say this, and this is gonna I think create some value for the audience. I know someone who went to Cal State Long Beach, stacked up his money, bought some property. Now he's probably a multimillionaire now. So he went to Cal State Long Beach. I don't even know what kind of grades he got. It doesn't matter. But he put himself in position.
Right. But Fletcher, but what you're saying is like, you're giving advice. We're not talking about college graduates. We're talking about 18-year-olds. You're giving advice to 18-year-olds, don't be in the middle. If you go to college, you're being in the middle. I remember one time you said you had someone come talk to your class at Northwestern, and the professor was like none of y'all are going to be billionaires because you guys are here. If you were going to be billionaires, you wouldn't be in fucking law school. Excuse my language. You wouldn't be in law school. You would you'd be out already getting it. You wouldn't just be wasting time in school. So when you talk extremes, Fletcher, and when people are using Bill Gates as the example or Mark Zuckerberg as the example, someone going to an 18-year-old going to Cal State Long Beach is kind of in the middle. Even, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, but
there's nothing wrong with that. And clearly you proved that being in the middle, that you did okay.
No, but B, I'm doing okay because I'm not in the middle.
At that point, wait, Fletcher, at that point in your life, you were.
Okay, now you think that everyone at Cal State Long Beach is just in the middle by default?
No, well, I think if you're going to the way that our society encouraged people to pick schools, I would say that 99% of the people going to Cal State Long Beach are in the middle, and there's nothing wrong with that.
But okay,
That would include me.
you're saying in the middle in that quote unquote academic game.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about college.
No, but not necessarily the life game.
No, but Fletcher, we're talking about college. The whole point of this is like deciding on what you want to do. So for instance, like, you know who was not in the middle at 18 is your wife, or your wife was not in the middle at 18. She was on the extreme. So giving advice to someone as talented as your wife or your sister-in-law would be different than giving advice to me or you. Now it's relative. Now we can look at people that we know that didn't go to college, and we may be viewed as a super talented, but in the college sphere, it's like, no.
So was Mark Cuban in the middle when he went to the Indiana University?
Yeah.
And he started putting together his businesses. And
no, Fletcher, but you're talking about. But the question is that what should an 18 or 19-year-old do? Not reassessing the person after they get through the institution, because just because someone like had the high school grades and SAT score at 18 doesn't really define them for the rest of their life. But what I'm talking about is that what type of advice is good for your average 18 and 19-year-old. You often share a stat in all these group chats that, what is it? 80% of the black males in the state of California aren't at reading level. And essentially you telling that 80% that they shouldn't try to obtain a college degree, that they should try to go do internet hustling is just dumb.